Hey there. I'm Jake, and I guess you could say I've been around the block. Some people would call me a success story, but I'm not sure how comfortable I am with that label. My journey wasn't smooth. Not by a long shot. But I'm here to share my story, so you know there's hope if you're stuck. You see, I made my first million when I was just 20, but that doesn't mean it was easy. To understand how I got here, you need to know where I started. I wasn't born into money. Hell, my family didn't even have health insurance for a while. I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood in Ohio, a place where dreams are as big as the factory jobs that everyone around you seem to be headed for. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those jobs, but they weren't for me. I knew that from a young age. The 9 to 5 grind didn't appeal to me at all, and I was looking for something bigger, something that would get me out of that rut. I didn't exactly have a roadmap for success, either. I just had an intense drive to get out. I always heard about people who made it big on their own, entrepreneurs, people in tech, and especially those in the new world of e-commerce and crypto. The tech wave was just starting to swell when I was 16, and I couldn't help but feel like it was my shot to get out of this small-town life. But I had no idea how to break in. I was just a regular high school kid, trying to juggle studies and part-time jobs. When I graduated, I had a little bit of savings, maybe $2,000 from various jobs, but no real direction. I wanted to dive into business, but I had no capital to start anything traditional. And no, I didn't have a trust fund or some uncle who'd set me up with a nice cushy position. I was starting from scratch, just like most people do. I had to teach myself everything. I spent hours on YouTube, reading blogs, and listening to podcasts. The one thing that stuck with me was this: the future of business wasn't in brick-and-mortar stores anymore. It was online. And that's when the gears started turning. I didn't know what I was doing at first, but I was determined to figure it out. The first breakthrough moment came when I discovered dropshipping. I'd heard of it before, but didn't really understand the concept. It sounded too good to be true: sell products you don't have in stock, never deal with inventory, and make a killing. Of course, I soon learned that it wasn't as simple as it sounded. But that's where it all started. I launched my first dropshipping store when I was 18. The concept was simple: I found a niche, people who loved quirky, high-tech gadgets, and built a Shopify store around it. I invested my $2,000 savings into Facebook ads, hoping to get a return. I remember watching my ad spend rack up with no sales. The first month was brutal. I spent $1,000 on ads, and I didn't make a dime. I was crushed. I didn't give up though. I started tweaking things, testing different product pages, experimenting with the ads, and changing the copy. After a couple of months, I finally saw some sales trickling in. I wasn't getting rich, but I was making enough to reinvest into the business. By the end of my first year, I was making around $3,000 a month in profit. Not much, but it was progress. But here's the thing: you can only get so far with dropshipping. Eventually, I hit a ceiling. The market got saturated, competition skyrocketed, and my profit margins were razor-thin. I knew I had to level up. That's when I stumbled onto something that would change everything: cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency was still in its infancy back then, around 2018. Bitcoin was the big name, but there were other altcoins starting to emerge, and I had a gut feeling that this was my next big opportunity. I'd always been good with numbers, and I started learning about crypto trading. But to be honest, at first, I was just like everyone else. I threw some money into Bitcoin and hoped for the best. In the beginning, my investments in crypto were small, maybe a couple $100 here and there. I was still running my dropshipping business, but the real money came from crypto. By mid-2019, I got more serious about it. I started reading everything I could about blockchain technology, altcoins, and trading strategies. I opened accounts on multiple crypto exchanges and began experimenting with day trading. Let me tell you, crypto is volatile. If you think regular stocks are unpredictable, crypto takes it to a whole new level. But that was part of the appeal for me. There was huge potential, and I wasn't afraid of risk. I started small, like I did with dropshipping, but I kept track of every trade. I didn't rely on luck, I relied on research and data. And that's where the real money started coming in. I remember one trade in particular. I bought into Ethereum at $120, and within 3 months, it jumped to $350. I sold at $300, pocketing over $12,000 in profit. That was the first time I realized the true power of crypto. I didn't stop there. I kept trading, and I kept learning. By the end of 2019, I had made over $100,000 from crypto alone. But I wasn't content to stop there. I kept growing, reinvesting, and diversifying my investments into other altcoins and early-stage projects. By the time I turned 20, I had cracked the code. My dropshipping business had grown into a full-fledged e-commerce store, I had a diversified crypto portfolio, and I was working on creating my own digital products to sell. All of a sudden, my income wasn't just steady, it was skyrocketing. I'll be honest with you. Getting to this point wasn't easy. It took sacrifice, sleepless nights, and some serious growing pains. There were times when I felt like throwing in the towel. But looking back, I see it as all part of the journey. There's no such thing as overnight success, and anyone who tells you otherwise is lying. It took years of hard work, failures, and tough lessons to get to where I am now. The first million didn't happen overnight, but when it did, I was ready for it. My dropshipping store was pulling in 6 figures a year, my crypto investments were paying off, and I had a growing digital brand. I didn't just make my first million, I became part of the new generation of entrepreneurs. I understood the modern market. I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was thriving. That's the first part of my journey. There's a lot more to it, lessons learned, setbacks faced, and risks taken, but I wanted to lay the groundwork for you. If you're out there struggling, wondering if it's even possible to break out of the cycle, just know this, it's possible. You just have to learn, adapt, and keep pushing forward. If you're ready to hear how I kept building after that first million, let me know. Alright, so now you've got the basics. You've seen how I made my first million and how the early hustle, dropshipping, crypto, and a whole lot of trial and error helped me get there. But, as you probably know, reaching that first big milestone doesn't automatically mean you're set for life. If anything, it's just the beginning. The real challenge is scaling up, handling growth, and making sure you don't burn out in the process. When I hit that first million at 20, I had this sense of accomplishment, but also a quiet realization, I hadn't even scratched the surface yet. It felt great to hit that financial target, but I knew that if I wanted to keep growing, I couldn't just ride the wave of passive income forever. I had to think bigger. Let's back up a little bit and talk about what happened after I made that first million. The first thing I did was reinvest heavily. If you want to grow, you can't hoard your profits. You need to put that money to work. For me, it wasn't about buying fancy cars or throwing it all into high-risk crypto trades. I knew that wasn't sustainable. Instead, I put my money into expanding my e-commerce business, diversifying my investments, and creating new revenue streams. Reinvesting in e-commerce. At this point, my dropshipping store was doing pretty well. I had learned how to market products efficiently, optimize my sales funnels, and leverage social media for traffic. But I wasn't just focused on the immediate revenue. I knew I had to turn this side hustle into something scalable. So, I took a significant portion of my first million and reinvested it into building my own brand. This was a game changer. Instead of selling random, unbranded products from suppliers, I started developing my own line of branded products. This gave me more control over the entire process. I wasn't just depending on suppliers anymore, I could dictate my own terms, set my own prices, and, most importantly, create a unique selling proposition. I found a product that I thought had serious potential: eco-friendly gadgets. People were becoming more conscious of sustainability, and I saw a gap in the market for affordable, high-tech eco products. With my background in digital marketing and e-commerce, I built a whole new store around this niche, complete with its own branding, logos, and messaging. I also outsourced some of the tasks I was handling myself. It was hard for me to let go of control at first, but I knew that if I wanted to scale, I couldn't do everything alone. I hired a small team, a social media manager, a content creator, and a few customer service representatives. By the end of that year, I had built a brand that was doing $20,000 a month in sales. And the best part? The margins were higher than dropshipping because I owned the product. My profit margins were sitting around 40%, which meant I was pocketing around $8,000 per month after expenses. Cryptocurrency diversification. I didn't just stick to dropshipping, though. As much as I loved e-commerce, I had learned the hard way that relying on a single revenue stream was risky. The market could shift, and if I wasn't careful, I could lose everything. So, I kept a keen eye on the crypto market. By this time, the crypto boom of 2020 was well underway, and I had a strong portfolio of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a few promising altcoins. But this time, I wasn't just trading. I started investing in DeFi, decentralized finance, projects and yield farming, which was a whole new concept to me. To put it in perspective, I had put $50,000 into various DeFi projects, essentially lending out my crypto to earn interest. Now, in a traditional bank account, you'd be lucky to get a 1% return. But in DeFi, the interest rates were much higher. Some of these projects were offering 10%, 20%, or even 50% annual returns. It sounded too good to be true, but I did my research and found some legitimate projects with solid backing. I also started leveraging my crypto knowledge. I knew that if I wanted to keep scaling, I couldn't just rely on passive income. I began consulting for other small businesses, advising them on how to integrate crypto payments or leverage blockchain technology for efficiency. That brought in another $5,000 to $10,000 a month in consulting fees, and it gave me more exposure to the industry. My crypto portfolio was growing at a ridiculous rate, and the passive income from it was helping fund my other ventures, scaling my digital products with my e-commerce business growing steadily and my crypto investments thriving. I looked for ways to diversify even further. I had an idea. If people could make money in crypto, why not teach them how to do it? I spent months developing a digital course, something that would teach people how to invest in crypto and build their own portfolios. This wasn't just a fly-by-night idea. I wanted to create something with real value. I recorded lessons, created downloadable resources, and even set up a private community where course members could discuss crypto, share strategies, and ask questions. When the course went live, it was an instant success. I used the same social media strategies that I'd perfected with my e-commerce business, ads, influencers, and content marketing, to get the word out. Within 6 months, the course was bringing in $30,000 per month in revenue. By this point, I had multiple income streams. My e-commerce brand was making a solid $40,000 a month in profit, my crypto investments were growing, and my digital products were taking off. I had a team of 10 people helping me run everything. And just like that, I was on the fast track to hitting $10 million in revenue within the next year. The power of systems and delegation. Now, here's something I didn't fully appreciate at the time: success isn't just about making money. It's about creating systems that allow you to keep making money without burning out. When you're running multiple businesses, things can get chaotic quickly. I was juggling a lot of moving parts: customer service, product development, marketing, finances, and more. I realized I needed to streamline my operations. So, I put systems in place, automated email sequences, a project management tool for my team, and even a finance tracker to keep an eye on cash flow. One of the best decisions I made was hiring a COO, Chief Operating Officer. I'd heard people talk about the value of having someone handle the day-to-day operations while you focus on the big picture, and it's true. My COO took over the logistics, product sourcing, and team management, allowing me to focus on scaling and growth. I also made sure I wasn't constantly glued to my computer. I took time for myself, something I hadn't done earlier in the game. I started working out regularly, spending time with family, and even taking a couple of vacations to recharge. I knew that if I wanted to keep performing at a high level, I couldn't sacrifice my health and well-being. Where I stand now, so here we are. It's 2025, and I've made well over $10 million in total revenue across my businesses. But I'm not done yet. If anything, I feel like I'm just getting started. I've learned that success isn't a destination, it's a journey. And the key to scaling is reinvesting in yourself and your business, learning from mistakes, and being relentless in your pursuit of growth. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's that it's never too late to start. I didn't come from money. I wasn't handed anything. But I kept learning, kept pushing, and most importantly, I didn't give up when things got hard. You can do this, too. Keep grinding, keep hustling, and always be open to learning. The world's changing, and the opportunities are endless for those who are willing to put in the work. This is just the beginning. So, you've made it to the final chapter. I won't sugarcoat it, this is where things get real. We've already talked about how I made my first million, how I scaled my business, and how I diversified into crypto and digital products. But the truth is, once you've crossed that $1 million threshold, there's an entirely new set of challenges ahead. It's not just about maintaining success, but about continuously adapting, growing, and staying ahead of the curve. You see, the journey doesn't end when you hit a milestone. In fact, that's when the real test begins. For every entrepreneur who hits it big, there's another wave of obstacles waiting. The market changes. Competitors emerge. Trends shift. And if you aren't careful, you can easily get stuck in a cycle of stagnation. This chapter is about pushing beyond that, taking things to the next level, pivoting and embracing new opportunities. When you're just starting out, everything feels like a win. You get your first sale, your first viral ad, your first big payout, and it's a rush. But after you hit a certain level of success, it becomes about sustainability and growth. So, what's the next big opportunity? Where do you go when you've already done what most people dream of? For me, it wasn't enough to just keep doing the same thing over and over. I had to think about where the world was heading. And that's when I realized that technology was going to be the next major shift. AI, automation, and the metaverse weren't just buzzwords, they were real, tangible opportunities that would redefine how we do business. I'm not talking about the next hot crypto coin or the next big product launch. I'm talking about thinking bigger, about creating systems that leverage the technologies that are changing everything. I started investing in AI tools to automate my business operations. The days of manually managing product listings, customer inquiries, or even social media posts were over. I found an AI company that specialized in creating virtual assistants for e-commerce businesses, and I integrated their system into my operation. This allowed me to automate a huge portion of my day-to-day tasks, freeing up more time for strategic decision-making and personal development. With automation, I was able to scale even faster. We launched new product lines, expanded into international markets, and improved customer experience, all without having to significantly increase my team size. The AI handled it, but it wasn't just about automation. The next big shift for me came when I decided to launch a SaaS product, software as a service. I'd been using software tools for my own businesses for years, tools to track inventory, handle payments, manage ads, and I realized that there was a huge gap in the market for a comprehensive platform designed specifically for small e-commerce entrepreneurs. Something affordable, effective, and scalable. I partnered with a small tech team, and we set out to build a platform that would streamline every aspect of running an online store, from customer management to shipping logistics, to tracking ad performance. We launched it as a subscription service, and within 6 months, we were seeing steady growth. By the end of that year, the SaaS platform was generating an additional $200,000 in monthly revenue. Facing new challenges by now, I was running multiple successful ventures. My e-commerce brand was doing $1 million a month in sales. My crypto investments were still growing, though I had diversified into real estate and stocks to balance things out. My digital products were solid, and I was bringing in passive income from consulting and affiliate marketing. But with growth comes a new set of problems. As my businesses grew, so did the complexity of managing them. I couldn't just check my email once a day and call it a job anymore. There were board meetings, strategy sessions, and a lot of financial decisions that required serious attention. One of the toughest challenges I faced was managing a growing team. In the early days, I was a solo operator. But once you start reaching new heights, you need to build a team of people who are just as dedicated, just as hungry, and just as skilled. I had to go from being the guy who did everything to being the guy who led everything. That meant trusting my team more, empowering them to make decisions, and providing them with the resources they needed to succeed. I hired specialists in areas where I wasn't an expert: operations managers, marketing strategists, and financial analysts. I also invested in leadership development for myself because I knew that to take things to the next level, I had to become a better leader. Giving back at this point, my financial situation was stable. I wasn't worried about money anymore. And while that in itself is a huge accomplishment, I realized there was something missing: purpose. I wanted my success to mean more than just my personal wealth. I wanted to have an impact, not just in my industry, but in my community and beyond. I began looking for ways to give back, not just through money, but through mentorship. I started offering free coaching and mentorship to young entrepreneurs who were struggling to break through, just like I had. I hosted free workshops, did Q&A sessions on social media, and even partnered with local schools to teach financial literacy to high school students. It felt good. Really good, but beyond that, I wanted to create something that would outlast me. I decided to launch a charity focused on helping underserved communities gain access to business education and resources. We partnered with schools, nonprofits, and community centers to provide mentorship, startup funds, and free courses for aspiring entrepreneurs who didn't have the resources to get started. That's when I realized success isn't just about making money. It's about using that money, that influence, and that platform to help others. Looking ahead as I sit here, writing this last chapter, I can honestly say I'm proud of what I've built. But I'm also more aware than ever that the journey isn't over. There's always something new to learn, always a new challenge to face, and always another opportunity to seize. In the end, the thing that got me to this point wasn't any one decision. It wasn't just about finding the perfect product or making the perfect investment. It was about a combination of things: relentless learning, calculated risks, reinvesting in myself, and embracing change. I'm still growing, still evolving, and still chasing that next level of success. And you should be, too. No matter where you are in your journey, there's always more to achieve. If I've learned anything, it's that the road to success is never a straight line. There will be detours, there will be bumps, and there will be moments where you question if it's all worth it. But trust me when I say this: if you keep pushing forward, stay adaptable, and put in the work, you'll get there. And when you do, you'll look back and realize everything you went through was worth it. Stay hungry. Keep growing. And never stop learning. Because the best is yet to come.